Hey everybody, it's Craig Syracuse, Walk in Faith. We are back at the Opera House. Thank God we are here. But today's exciting. I'm sitting down with my friend, my brother, Mr. Juan. I'm going to make him pronounce it Juan.
Juan Ma Morales.
Ma Morales. Juan and I know each other over a decade, worked together at the Sales Media. But Juan is a two-time Billboard Songwriter, multiple awards, engineer, and now tomorrow he's playing at the Opera House, which is our first event to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thank you, Craig. It's so great to see you.
You and I worked, like I said, worked together a decade. What does it mean to be performing at the Emmaus Center, the Opera House, our first event, our first performance, for the community, which is the most important thing?
This is a maiden voyage. I mean, we are so excited to be here and with the whole band celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, which is so important because we are in the United States of America, a great country where everybody wants to come.
And now music, when you grew up in Puerto Rico, music was a big part of your childhood or development as you were growing up, or is it something you went into later on?
Incredible. It was incredible. It kept me out of trouble. You know, when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
I was a professional musician when I was 12. I used to play nightclubs and they used to sneak me behind through the back door because I was a minor. But I started playing when I took my brother's guitar. He sold it to me for $15.
Is that the guitar there?
No, no. that one is not alive anymore. But I grabbed the instrument and I had the talent.
It was just like an instant
I could
thing?
play it. I could play it.
Your fingers and everything just sort of flowed?
I could change chords. I could play a melody. So I started taking lessons. And of course, my inspiration was rock and roll. Because when you live in an island like Puerto Rico, you hear Latin music every day. But when I heard Led Zeppelin, when I heard Carlos Santana is one of my heroes, B.B. King, I said, wow, I want to learn that music. So I started playing rock and roll, and I had a band at 12. At 14, I was playing professional.
Wow.
And then college came. And I had a conversation with my father. And I said, well, I want to study music.
That didn't go over well.
That didn't go well. My father is an architect trained at a University of Southern California. He had his own firm. And he said, no, that's not going to work.
What year was this? Do you mind
This is
sharing?
1974 when I graduated from high school. And he said, you got to pick something else that you can make a real living.
Or have a backup plan.
Oh, backup plan. And I said, well, you know what? I was already messing with amplifiers. In those days, it was tubes. I would take them apart. I couldn't put them together again. So I said, let me learn engineering, electronic engineering. So I got a scholarship through affirmative action in those days. And I went to Cornell University. I was one of 5 Hispanics in the whole university.
Wow.
It was kind of tough because my high school education did not compare to the education of the United States. So I had to go to tutoring. Tutoring was free, but it was Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. But that's how I made it. And I ended up with a Dean's List. My first semester was C+. I barely made it. And they told me, if you go lower than that, you're out of here. And I applied myself and got graduated with Dean's List, a 3.5 average in engineering. And at the end, I had 3 bands playing at the same time.
I mean, I know you juggled both, but did you ever question to say, either I'm going to drop out of college or I'm going to pursue this full time?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever have to make a decision, or do you look back and say, maybe I should have?
No, I don't, because, you know, it's a great gospel about the talent, the coin, okay? And there's the son that buries it and brings the same talent, and the father says, get out of here, okay? And then there's the one that invested and comes back and say, Dad, this is what I did, you know, with all this talent. I managed to combine both branches, the engineering and the music. Yeah, sometimes I had to sacrifice the music for engineering. Like when I came to New York City after graduating from Cornell, that's 1978, I came to Columbia University, and there was no scholarship. I went broke. I couldn't pay the dorm. I couldn't pay the college. So I look at the newspaper. That's in those days there were no internet. So I'm looking at the New York Times, and the NBC had what they call summer relief programs, but you had to work midnight to 8. And I was lucky to get that job. There was no broadcast schools in those days. You had to learn from the old timers. But midnight to 8, I was named, which was a union job, and I was making enough money. The union workers would give me the key to the studios and a list of what equipment was defective, because I was doing maintenance. I had the key to Studio 8H and the Saturday Night Live, and I started working on things. Sometimes I couldn't finish the job because I didn't know enough, but the real pros would come in the morning and see that you tried, and then they would come and say, no, Juan, you're missing this, you're missing that. So that's how I learned. But in those days, I was studying, I was doing a job, so there was no music. At the end, I became the head of the maintenance engineer for the studios at NBC, and I was able to work a 9 to 5, a normal, a normal job. So that's when the career took over.
No, I mean, I remember working in the secular world too, and my wife would say, what time are you coming home? And I don't know. And I remember taking naps on the table before work because I was working nights and days and sleeping in the car. Yeah. And I remember that lifestyle, and I look back and I don't miss it. I don't want to go back to it. And now we know each other, like I said, a long time. And you have a strong faith, devotion to your faith. What was it like during those times, especially balancing and juggling it all? Were you still connected to your faith during that time, or was it more later on in life?
I was connected to my faith. I was raised Catholic, practicing Catholic. And I went to Catholic high school. First I went to the Jesuits, and then I couldn't handle the discipline. This was like almost military, you know, they would give you demerits and all that kind of stuff. Eventually I ended up with the Mariners, with the brothers, and they were so smart. They could handle me. I was a pretty, you know, high-strung kind of guy. And, you know, you had to go to Mass. That was part of the education. And I didn't want to go because, you know, it kind of like bored me when you're young, you know, you have all this energy. But I was a musician. So the brother, and this is Brother Jansen, he said, well, you know, we're going to make you the minister of music. Poof! There I was, every Mass, having a great time. And he would let me play secular music. He would let me play Chicago, the beginnings, you know, things that related to the faith. And eventually I had like a little band. And it worked for both of us, because then the band, the Mass became very popular with the youth.
It gets you in.
Yeah. The faith came back during corporate, because I ended up working for Citigroup, of all the people. Imagine that, Smith Barney. I saw Wall Street, and I saw greed in the face. You know, people didn't make enough money, and they were rich. And I said, wow, this is a lesson. God is talking to me, right? So I finished that career. At the end, I resigned from being a senior vice president, working with all the CEOs, Sally Kroshek, Sandy Weil. They were like babies. You know how executives are when you put them in front of a camera. I built studios for them, and you know, I just couldn't do it anymore. The money was fantastic, but I was missing something. So I quit, and I did freelance. I did Fox, I did SBO jobs, et cetera, and then I met Monsignor Dempsey. I needed insurance, so I needed a job. And I lived right next to 1712, which is what the net is at. Yeah. And I kept passing it. There was no signage. And I kept passing it, and all of a sudden they put an ad. And I answered, it's right next door. Wow. It's that building that I've been passing every day to go to the store.
So right away you know it's God.
Yes.
That's no coincidences, obviously.
Right? That's when God is nudging you.
Yep.
You know, oh, you don't want to go there. Nice and gentle, yep. Come here. right?
Love it.
Come here. Yeah, and I met Monsignor Dempsey. Monsignor Dempsey, with his frayed collar, his shoes were breaking down. But what a smart guy. And he's the one that got the frequencies.
Yep.
Through the FCC. Yeah. I researched him, and you should see him talking to the Senate of the United States, getting free frequencies through a lawyer for religious education. Can you believe that? So I worked with him, and he hired me. So my job was to put them on Fiverr and liberate those frequencies so we could lease them. And that is what the net is
Exactly.
based on. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now we're back, and that was, what, 15 years ago?
That was 15 years.
15 years. So now we're here at the Opera House, and tomorrow, celebrating Hispanic heritage. So tell me, I mean, your sound, your music is so unique. Then what does music do for you emotionally, spiritually? When you get up here tomorrow and you play, what does that do for you?
Sonido Costeño means coastal sounds.
Oh, okay.
So sounds of the coast. Think about living in an island surrounded by water. Anything new comes through the coast. So that to me was the concept of what my music was gonna be. It wasn't just gonna be Puerto Rican music, because I like rock and roll, and eventually I love jazz, and I love opera, you understand? So everything new, I consider myself an island that opens up in the coast and brings all this music together. How I became a salsa performer, and we'll talk about salsa, is because it was commercially successful. Again, God guides you. You do rock and roll, that didn't work.
Exactly.
You did jazz, that didn't work. Plenty of jazz players out there a lot better than me, right? But then I started doing salsa, and all of a sudden people were hiring me. It was a natural. I was born listening to this music, dancing to it. So salsa, what is salsa? Salsa means sauce. That's what it translates for. And I had a residency at Tito Puente's restaurant for 5 years in City Island. I auditioned with the master. I spoke with him, and I said, what is this salsa? And he didn't like the name. Salsa includes mambo, cha-cha-cha, guaguanco, bomba y plena, all these rhythms. That's what we're calling salsa. You understand? It's a label and it's a drawer. That's what the record labels do. They put a label on it, boop, sell it. It's in a drawer. So I started doing Sonido Costeño, and all of a sudden it was commercially viable. So I've been doing that now for, over 25 years.
I mean, you played so much, and we'll see again tomorrow, but music has a way of connecting, uniting people. Sort of like transcends, right? It brings everyone together regardless of differences, beliefs. It sort of unites people, right? Yes. What is within that music? Is it the sound? Like, how does it connect people? What does it do for people emotionally?
That's a great question, let me tell you. With the pandemic, I went back to my roots. Busking, playing for tips out in the street. You put a can. Now we use a QR code or Venmo or whatever, which is great. Right? That's fantastic, right? You start walking home and Venmo starts saying, so-and-so gave you this. But that's how I fed my family during those days. I play in Prospect Park, the entrance of Pre-Chart Circle. And I set up there every Saturday. Guess who reacts first to the music? The kids. Because it's a universal language. They immediately start dancing, then the parents start and come in. It's how you communicate. You see musicians, artists, videographers, we want to communicate. We have a message that we enjoy it so much. Then that message communicates to the other people. You have to enjoy it. Because you could hear musicians that don't say anything to you because they're not enjoying it. See, my band, I try to put people that I like and have the talent. So that joy that is on stage communicates to the audience. And then they amplify it and then bring it to you. And it's like a circle. It just keeps growing. And it's a talent. It's what God gave me, so it multiplies.
That's interesting. So it's sort of like your joy and the connection you have is sort of infectious to the crowd, but it's also the people within the group have to share that same common goal and need. It's about sharing the joy and the love.
Oh yeah.
And if it's not sincere, they won't respond to it the same way.
It's like Mass. It's the same thing as Mass.
That's interesting. You're right, because that's what sort of connects everyone. It's the joy that you're displaying to the people through the music.
But you go to one parish and you come fulfilled, right, with joy. You go to another parish and you go like, what did I just do? I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
It depends on that priest. What is the message? You see, talking to you? Is he feeling? And you know, we're all human. You don't feel it every day. I have bad days. But when I have bad days, at least I have a band. Then maybe one of the guys is having a good day.
Yeah, and you can play it off a little. No, but that's very
you
interesting.
take all the solos.
It's interesting. I mean, I love music, right? And I like a lot of dance music, and I always watch this concert called Tomorrowland. And people are like, what is that? But the thing about it is the music and the people come from all over the world. A million people would come together, and the music connects them. Same thing when we go to World Youth Day and see the Pope. Well, half of us don't speak the same language, but we're all brought there and connected through the Mass, but also the music. And it's sort of, you see past those differences, and maybe you wouldn't have a conversation with that person, but with the music, it sort of breaks that ice. It's like an icebreaker. And then we're connected. And then from the music, we can have a conversation. But the music is what connects everyone.
Connects and heals.
Heals.
Music heals. I did hospital audiences, which was playing in Rikers, VA hospitals, seniors, you name it. I went to the Premierly Insane over at Randall's Island. That looked almost like Belushi's concert, the Blues Brother.
Yeah.
You're playing behind a cyclone fence.
Oh my God.
That was like an experience. But you know what? The minute I started playing, everybody was smiling. All the people that were screaming.
Wow.
The minute you start playing, it was like.
I saw something recently in this band, Zach Williams was playing, and to see the people weep as they were playing, it was just something, he was talking about, you know, fear, you know, releasing fear, you know, and it was just to see how powerful music is.
Yes.
Really amazing.
Yeah, no, when you go to senior homes and they're all distracted or whatever, also you play, and you know, you play all songs because you're playing for people. You try to bring music of their era. And although some people with Alzheimer's, memory problems, they start singing those lyrics, man, to the note, to the word, and you go like.
What does it make you feel like? I mean, you must feel an instant connection to God when you do that.
I come out of there, you know. And those gigs is like a token, like, you know, transportation money to go there. I come out of there, let me not say this, but I will, happier than when I play a club. I feel so rewarded. It's an incredible feeling.
And it goes back all the way to what you learned at Citibank.
Well,
you know, in the
that
sense
greed
of
is
money.
not, it's not about money. It's not about money. You have to do something that you enjoy and that brings something for everybody. You have to bring something. There is a purpose in life. That's what God brought you here, you know. And I've been so close, and I've seen better musicians than me dying at a young age because of drugs or abuse, you know. And every day I say, thank you, Lord, for giving me this gift, you know, for giving me the chance to do it. And I do have a purpose every day. You know it.
I know.
You gave me this gig, I've been calling you, I've been hunting you. Like,
and it's funny too, and before we go, it's, you know, it just sort of hit me, came out of the blue. And then what I do is, like you, I discern and I obey. You know, because it's not about me, it's being here, nothing's about me. It's for whatever reason God said to me, like, Juan, and your name came up, and I thought about it, and I reached out and I said, and it all worked out perfectly. I'm like, okay, God. And it's not about us, it's about maybe someone will come here, maybe you'll say something, maybe, who knows? But the Holy Spirit is what we want. We want something to happen and plant a seed to where people will be inspired by your music tomorrow, and then maybe visit the church, maybe come back, and that's it. My only hope is that we bring people to Christ through the music, through the arts, through this space, through the Emmaus Center.
And get the message out.
Exactly.
Get the message out.
Because we need to. Juan, so, I mean, before we run, how can people, you know, follow you on social media, you know, follow you when you go to your next event? Like, how do people get in contact with you?
Well, my website is www.sonidocosteño, SONIDOCOSTENO.com.
Well, Juan, thank you. We look forward to tomorrow. Guys, you know, connect with Juan, go on his website, go to his shows. Juan and I know each other a long time. God bless you, Juan. I look forward to tomorrow. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Walk in Faith. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through your words and actions. God bless you.